Hi everyone, today we're going to start a new batch of soft rocks, and so all of these are going to be in the 5 to 6 range on the Mohs scale. It's almost all Sodalite, Lapis Lazuli, and then there's a few Opals. There's some random mixtures here, like some of these are Opals that have already been polished and done, but I just didn't like that they got some cracks, so I'm going to start them over fresh in stage 1 and then repolish those. But let's go ahead and load up the barrel here. I've got some really pretty material to try out. Really pretty piece of apatite. Big piece of apatite I'm going to start. I really love this material when it's done. It gets a lot of cracks and it's never going to get perfectly smooth, but it's gorgeous. And there's so many pretty big pieces, I don't even know where to start. This is a Lazuli. We are doing these in a Harbor Freight tumbler barrel, so it'll be nice and slow. You can see this is another one that's been tumbled in a different batch, but not long enough to get done with stage 1, and so I just put it back in. Here's some little tiny examples of what the blue apatite looks like polished. We'll just throw those in as filler. This one right here is actually a great example of why it's kind of frustrating. Similar to labradorite, it just gets a lot of fracturing. But if you get a good piece, they're so pretty. This is actually Girasol Opal, which I since learned is just a kind of quartz, so I'm not going to run that in this batch. I'll run that in its own batch. This piece, however, is Opalite, which is very soft and soft enough to run with these. We'll do a couple of these green apple opals. Those will tumble real quick because they're mostly smooth anyway. That's a pretty piece. I really want to run this huge Sodalite piece, but probably don't have room for it. For some reason, whatever reason, I've got a lot of big pieces of all this. You want a kind of a mix of big and small. I think I'm just going to do that big Sodalite piece. It may make the other ones take a little longer, but this stuff wears down fast enough. I think it'll be fine. As long as I don't run too much other that's huge. Pretty little piece. Alright, so that's going to be the barrel for this time. I'm going to fill it with water and then 3 scoops of grit because we have a 3-pound barrel. 3 scoops meaning 3 tablespoons. And then we are going to run this for 7 days. We'll check with you then. Just a quick little update real quick. I have a lot of this. I called it apatite earlier. It's not. I have apatite in here and a lot of it, but this really lighter stuff is Amazonite. I had forgotten I'd bought a batch of this. I've never done any of this. I don't know for sure, but it looks very similar composition to apatite and labradorite, but we'll see how it goes. If it's not polishing as quick as some of the others or grinding down, I may take them out and run a batch of their own. Maybe they're a little harder, but we'll just have to see. This is a big piece of actual apatite. So we'll just see how it's going, play it by ear, but just wanted to make sure that you knew this was Amazonite and not apatite. So we've got 5 different rocks in here. Okay, it's our first 1-week checkup. Very excited to see how they're doing. If I overfilled the barrel or not. Definitely still very full. And we got some beautiful rocks though. Here's my large piece of Sodalite. Got a long ways to go. Large piece of blue apatite. That one does not have a long ways to go, but it's not ready quite yet. Excuse me. Piece of lazuli. Another piece. That is such a gorgeous rock. Probably gonna have to end up breaking this part off, but we're gonna keep running it for now. So those. Not quite ready. A piece of that green apple opal. I'm going to call that one ready. This one needs a little bit of time. So I'll go through the rest. If there's any others done, I'll show you. Otherwise, we'll check back in a week. Okay, so we had lots of little jewelry size pieces done. And then we had a few bigger pieces as well. We got one piece of lazuli, a little piece of opalite, one piece of sodalite, and some blue apatite. So we'll be back in 7 days. Okay guys, it's been another week on our sodalite and lapis. Huge sodalite piece. Needs a little more time, but that is going to be so cool. Big piece of lapis. And my favorite, excuse me, my favorite color of it. Needs another recycle. Same here. So these softer materials I have found actually do some more grinding in round 2. Harder stones pretty much are going to look like what they do after the first step. That's not necessarily true with these. So I'm going to go add some more rough, reload, and run 7 more days. Okay. Here's our big piece of sodalite. I'm going to keep this going one more time. There's just a couple little minor issues, but it's going to be a gorgeous piece. Big piece of Lapis Lazuli. Same thing, couple little issues. Same thing here. Same thing here, just a little minor issue. Ooh, I'm debating just moving this one on so I don't lose some of what I like about it. Let's do one more week though. That little piece is ready to move on. So I'll go through the rest of these and show you what we have when we're done. So we had several little pieces done. Couple opals, some apatite, some lazuli. So we're going to move all these on. I am going to add more to the tumbler because, I don't know, it's not quite even half full. And then we'll run for another week. Okay. Got some really pretty stuff. This big piece is ready to move on. Gorgeous piece of sodalite. piece of lazuli, and it is ready to move on. My favorite colored piece of lazuli. It's ready to move on. This is the normal with these soft stones, as they go fast. Another big piece, another one ready to move on. This one we just added last week and it is not ready. That piece is ready. So I'll look through the rest of these. We're going to have a lot done. We're going to add a bunch of new ones, and we're going to reload and check again in 1 week. Alright. This one needs a little more time. Gorgeous piece. Same here. Same here in the back. Same. Interestingly, we may not have any done. No, that one's ready to go. Same with that piece. This one is not. So I'm just going to go through the rest of these. If we have anything else done, I'll let you know. Otherwise, like always, I'm going to reload with fresh grit and run for 7 more days. Okay, so we had all of this done. We're going to reload, and again, see you in 7 days. As always, this batch is gorgeous. I am obsessed with them. I shouldn't move this one on because there's some stuff here, but I don't want to lose a whole bunch more volume because this is a really cool and large piece. So I'm going to move it on. This one needs a little more time. That is Lapis Lazuli. Same with this piece. And that one is ready to move on. Actually, this one, yeah, it's Lazuli. I was wondering if it was Sodalite. Another Lapis. And I am going to move it on. Really, really pretty. Here's a green apple opal. It got a chip out of it, so we're going to keep it moving on. Or keep it moving in stage 1, I should say. Okay, so this is what we had done. As always, these are very productive batches because the rocks are so soft. But we're going to reload the tumbler and go for another 7 days. We'll check on you then. Okay, it's been a 1 week checkup here. Everything's looking really pretty. That one's not quite ready. Same here. Same here. Same here. Same. I figured some of these would be done. That one's done. So I'll go through the rest here and show you what's done at the end. Okay, so we got 4 total pieces done, and we're going to run them for 7 more days. Okay. Got some beautiful rocks here. So this one has one issue right here that I'm not going to consider an issue. It's just the shape of this rock. The rest of it isn't all nice and smooth. So I'm going to move that one on. This one's got quite a few issues that still need to be worked out. This is a gorgeous piece. I may move this one on. It's got one problem right here. I haven't decided if I'm worried about it or not. Okay guys, we had several little tiny guys done. Most of these are blue apatite, and there's a few little green apple opals. And then had 3 of these guys done. This one's got a really pretty aqua color to it. And then 4 big Lapis Lazuli pieces. So we're going to run for 7 more days, and then we should be ready for stage 2. Just a quick update. We used every single one of the rough pieces of any of these varieties that I have left. We've got about 2/3 of a barrel, so I'm sure we're probably going to be done next week because a lot of these will be done quick. And we have a whole bunch of what we've already ran in step 2 or step 1 that are already ready to move on to step 2. So 1 more week for sure, and then we'll check back. Okay. So this one is definitely done. Incredible piece. Same here. Same here. So I'm definitely going to finish this batch up, go through, anything that isn't quite done like this one, we're just going to put away for a later batch. But we're going to take what's done out of this one and then go on to step 2. Okay guys, we are ready to load up the vibratory tumbler here. So I'm just going to pour my little batch in. Got a lot of rock in this one. So first I am going to take my batch of ceramics and I'm going to make this almost completely full of rocks and ceramic. I usually put more than I think I need. So I'm going to go fill this with water, and then I'm going to immediately pour all the water out using the lid here, just like you're straining meat out of a pan. And the point is to get everything wet, but not sitting in any standing water. So let me do that real quick, and we'll be right back. Okay, so everything here is wet. So the first thing we're going to do is put my little washer on and get it set on here. I always use a shirt when my hands are wet, so you can make sure this gets plenty tight or else it will come loose. So I can see this starting to squeeze into the rubber, so I know it's okay. So I'm going to put the lid on just for a minute and run it, just to get the ceramics mixed in and see if I need to add more ceramic. See, we mixed up a lot better. I'm going to add a little bit more ceramics. Okay, so I'm going to load 2 tablespoons now of 220 silicon carbide grit. Then I'm just going to run it for a minute and make sure everything is moving okay. So our movement's really good, and so I'm going to put the lid on and run this for 2 days, so 48 hours, but I'm going to have to check it every 12 hours to make sure that we don't need to add some water. So we'll be see you in about 12 hours for a checkup. Okay guys, real quick, it's been 12 hours and we are almost completely in the stock. So we're going to add a lot of water. Let's see how that works. And we'll be back in 12 hours. Just wanted to show a really quick update at 24 hours. We're still moving really good. Okay guys, it's been 48 hours, so we are going to get ready to move on to stage 3. So I just add a little bit of dish soap, and then you fill up quite a bit more water than normal. Pour some good water into the bottom, and then I'm just going to let that run for 20 or 30 minutes, and that will make the rocks a lot easier to clean. Okay guys, so I've got everything cleaned off. Just like the last step, you go through and clean out all the grit individually. Clean out all your ceramics really well. I've already got everything wet down in there, so we're just going to add 1 tablespoon of 500 aluminum oxide. And for these softer rocks, I also do a tablespoon of borax for the later stages. It just helps soften the blows, thicken up the slurry a little bit. So, give me 1 second and I'll be right back. Okay, so the washer is on, bowl's on tight, now we're just going to run it for a minute and make sure everything is moving okay. Everything looks good, everything looks wet. So we're just going to run this the same as last time for 48 hours, checking if we need to add water every 12 hours. Okay, it's been 12 hours. Just wanted to show how the movement's doing. It's slowed down quite a bit, so I'm going to add a little bit of water. Usually with soft rocks, it's actually cutting off more material, which means it will get drier. So let's see if this starts moving a little better. So that already seems to be doing better. So I'm just going to keep it going. You want to be really careful not to add too much water, or they won't spin as well and they won't make the thick slurry that cuts the rocks. But we'll check back in another 12. Okay guys, it's been 48 hours. Sorry it's really noisy in here, but it's been 48 hours. I took a couple and cleaned and washed off, and for reasons it's hard to explain on a phone, I'm just going to keep running this for probably 24 more hours on stage 3 and then move on to the polish stage. I do need to add a little bit of water. Let's make sure it's moving good, so we'll see you tomorrow. Okay guys, just got done with the soap bath, same as after the last step. And I'm going to go clean off everything extremely good before we go into final polish. So we'll be back shortly. Okay guys, I've got almost everything ready to go here with some dish soap in the sonic cleaner. except for the opals, which I've learned do terrible in sonic cleaners. I just have them in a bowl of water, and I'm going to come and clean each one by hand in just a few minutes. And then I've got all the little tiny pieces. I don't know if you can see them here, but they're in there in a little basket to go in the cleaner as well. So we're going to run this for about 15 minutes, and then we'll dry them off and see how everything's doing before final polish. Okay guys, here's everything cleaned and ready to go into final polish. Everything's looking pretty good with the exceptions of what I normally expect. Like the apatite never gets super smooth and it always loses little pieces. But the lazuli is turning out very nice, as is the sodalite. You can see we've got a little bit of shine, but nothing crazy yet. This is another apatite piece. You can see it's lost some chunks out of this middle part here. So it'll take a shine, but it's kind of like labradorite. It just gets so fractured. And we've got a whole bunch of little pretty pieces, hopefully, that would be good for jewelry. So we're going to load up the polish barrel and then show you how we start that. Okay, we're loaded up. We got all the rocks wet, just like every other stage. So we're going to do 1 tablespoon of aluminum oxide polish. And then I'm going to do again a tablespoon of borax, theoretically. And let's just start it up and make sure she's looking good. Looks like it's going to be great, so I am going to run this minimum for 3 days. Same as always, we're going to check it every 12 hours. I found in the polish stage you rarely have to add water, but it's possible. Every rock's different, every batch is different. But we're going to check every 12 hours, run minimum 36 hours, and then see how they look. Okay guys, we're at 24 hours on polish. Just wanted to show you we're still moving good. Still moving good. We got plenty of moisture. Polish, you can see, is coated on everything. So we'll check back in another 12 hours. Okay guys, it's been another 24 hours. Just wanted to show you here. Still moving good. So I'm just going to keep them running and check on them again in 12 hours. Okay everyone, it is time to get these cleaned off and see what we have. These have been running for about a half hour in a soap bath. So I just put a little bit of dish soap and a little bit of water in there. Then I'm going to go clean them off really good with the hose. And then I'm going to put them back in this barrel with a little bit of dish soap and a scoop or 2 of borax and run that for another probably hour. And that will clean it out really good, get all the grit out of cracks. This rock is soft enough I don't want to use my sonic cleaner that I usually use, so we're just going to do the borax wash. But we'll be back and check with you shortly. Okay, so I'm just ready to reload these. As you can see in there, I've got water about halfway up the bowl. Just going to add a little dish soap, and we'll do a scoop and a half of borax. Pretty good size scoop here. And then we're just going to run that mixture for probably about an hour. I'm actually even going to pour out a little bit of that water. It's just a hair too much. There was more in there than I thought. But yeah, you just run that, let them clean, and then we'll take a look at the finished product. Okay guys, batch came out of final polish. I did have one small hiccup with this batch. On my vibratory tumbler during the polish stage, I did not get the nut tight enough. That is very common. I didn't do it my normal way to tighten it down tighter, and so it worked loose one night and the last night and dried out all of the fluid. It was just powder by the time it was done. And so I did have to add more water and start the polish over. And in the process of that, it damaged a few of the rocks because all the polish dried inside. But the rocks that we're going to polish anyway still came out with a great polish. We just really damaged a few of these apatites that are really hard to get polish out of anyway. You see they're okay, but just not like a mirror polish that I would get normally with apatite if you run just that alone. Still came out okay, but nothing that I'm super proud of. But let's take a look at some of my favorite pieces. Most of these I'm just looking at myself for the first time as well. So out of this batch, I would say that the Amazonite took the best polish. The Lapis Lazuli also looks really good. Sodalite has always been one of my favorites, but really the only things that didn't turn out very well were the Opal and the apatite. These were old, terrible Opal pieces. I've ran the best pieces from this batch previously. These were just messed up ones from a previous batch, and so they come out still messed up, basically. Another mistake I made, I'm not an expert on rock, but pretty sure that this Amazonite is a kind of feldspar, which is just, sorry, I just dropped it, which is too hard to go with the really soft apatite and opals. So a few mistakes, but I still got results I like. Let's take a look here. You gotta see, this is definitely lapis. You can see it's got a gorgeous shine. Just really an incredible piece. I love, love, love this stuff. Big, huge piece of Sodalite. I love Sodalite as well. Very similar. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but usually Sodalite will have silver pieces and lapis will have fool's gold pieces inside. So this one is lapis. Just a really pretty, really, really pretty piece. This is my favorite one. I love this deep ocean blue. You can see some of that. Is it pyrite, I think, is fool's gold. But just gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Really pretty piece of Sodalite. You can see a lot of those flakes in there. Sorry, that's my dog and my neighbor's dog fighting right outside. Show you some of this Amazonite turned out really cool. There's some that's just this white color. This would be something I would think you could run really well with other feldspars like labradorite, moonstone, that kind of stuff. Even I'm running a batch of gneiss, that'll be a video soon, that's mostly feldspar. I think that would work really well. But this material, let me find some of it gets into these really pretty aqua colors. Just gorgeous stuff, and took a really nice shine. This one's a pretty deep aqua. But I think it was this rock mixed with the polish that really took a toll on the opals and the apatites. Really pretty. Lazuli. It's got a ton of that pyrite. This is just a little tiny Sodalite, but I really like how it turned out. Took a really, really nice polish. Let's see here. I don't have time to look at everyone, but that one's got some really good color. Here's a really pretty piece that took an excellent shine of lapis. For some reason I really, really love blue rocks. Probably because they're just not very common out in nature. This one took an excellent shine as well. I believe this one is Sodalite. Let's see. Here's a pretty one with the Amazonite with some deep and different colors. So I'll just choose a couple more here. This is an interesting Sodalite piece. It's really dark. It's got almost some black in there. Little tiny Sodalite that's really cool again. Really pretty. There's a little piece of opalite I just threw in that I had broken from a different batch. It took a nice shine. There's a few pieces of that. Let's choose a couple more here. Well, let's look at these last two. This one's really pretty. So, overall, I got some that I'm really happy with, a few that I'm not very happy with. Some of them just took a real beating with the dried up polish. That was just user error. It happens. I think it's important to share failures and successes. And this one didn't turn out to be a complete failure, but some of them it certainly was. And in that case, so like these apatites and some other pieces, I'm just going to start them back in stage 1 in the next batch and see if we can't get them a little bit better. But thanks so much for watching. If you have any tips or comments or tricks, I'm always open and would love to hear what you have or what you think. Thanks.